just heard were some pretty strong words from the vice president discussing the Supreme Court's reversal of Roe, a decision that has left women's bodily autonomy at the mercy of state governments. There are at least 2.6 million women in the state of South Carolina, more than half of its population. But by the way, you wouldn't know that looking at the Palmetto State Senate, where 41 of 46 senators are men. And you couldn't ignore that dynamic as the chamber held a special session debating a House-passed bill banning nearly all abortions from the moment of fertilization. No exceptions for rape or incest. That ban failed to rally a filibuster-proof majority, and the most forceful condemnations came from some of the Senate's Republican women. Take a listen to what Republican State Senator Sandy Senn told the chamber.
We are about to suffer a setback at the hands of a lot of white males in here, but we're going to live to fight another day.
All right, let's talk about this. Here to discuss, Danielle Moody is host of the Woke AF podcast, and Joe Walsh is a former Republican congressman out of Illinois. Danielle, let me just start with you on this one, because it was essentially, right, Republican women, as we just heard, that rejected a ban without rape or incest exceptions, with some saying essentially, okay, here is the solution, right? Here's what should actually be happening, and saying a way to reduce abortions is comprehensive sex education and expanded contraceptive availability. Is that now the new reality that we are heading into, especially when it comes to Republican women in more conservative states that are looking to all-out ban abortion?
I mean, the reality is, Yasmin, that these Republican women have stood by white Republican men for their entire careers, right? They have promoted, you know, these quote unquote pro-life, anti-choice stances. And now it's coming home to roost. Now they recognize that the men that they have been standing by and the men that they have been supporting don't care about their lives, don't care about whether or not they have been raped, whether or not, you know, they have been subject to incest, whether or not they are carrying around, you know, half-formed fetuses inside of them. And so now to them, it's a shock. We've been talking about, you know, comprehensive sex education on the left since the beginning of time. You know, if they care so much about, you know, about childbirth, right, then why aren't they pro vasectomy? Something that is very easy to do and easily reversed, right? Why don't we talk about men when we talk about reproductive rights and how they take control over women's bodies? And so, you know, I look at these Republican women and, yeah, I give them half of applause, right? Because they have been the reason why these men have been able to do what it is that they can, because they've stood by them for the entirety of time.
Joe, Congressman, could you react to what Danielle just had to say?
Yeah, look, I tend to agree with Yasmin. I tend to agree with her. Look, the reality is that most Republicans who call themselves pro-life are in a place they never wanted to be. And I count myself among them. For years, we said overturn.
Can you define? I know you're about to define that, so expand on that for me, because I don't mean to step in. But okay, so you're calling for a ban on abortions, but now that the reality is clear and it's happened and Roe has been overturned and you're seeing reactions at the ballot box, is that now why Republicans are saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe we didn't want this?
Yasmin, yes. I mean, a lot of people say the dog that caught the car. Look, for years, many on my side said overturn Roe, overturn Roe, overturn Roe, never expecting it to happen, and many never wanting it to happen. Well, it happened. And politically, most Republicans who call themselves pro-life know that this has unleashed a storm on them politically, because even most people who call themselves pro-life oppose these extreme abortion measures, outlawing abortion from the moment of fertilization. Look what happened in Kansas. Returning it to the people, Yasmin, is not exactly what these Republicans expected it to be.
Congressman, how is that okay? How is that okay to advocate on behalf of any issue? Take Roe out of the picture. How is that okay to advocate on behalf of any issue without not having it really to be passed, really wanting it to be passed? when you see the fruits of what you were advocating for and saying, oh, wait a minute, well, I didn't really want that to happen. For anything. How is that okay?
Yeah,
how is that called governing?
It's not okay. It's been a political weapon on my side for years, and Republicans did it to get elected and did it to raise money. And they promised once we got here, all will be good. Again, we're here now, and it's going to hurt Republicans politically.
Danielle, here's a proposal that the Senate did in fact pass, and this is astounding as well. Shortening the time frame that victims of rape or incest can receive an abortion, requiring doctors to provide law enforcement with these patients' names, contact information, and DNA of the aborted fetus, and saying a woman must obtain confirmation from, count them, 2 physicians before aborting a fetus that cannot survive outside the womb. You think about what these women have likely already been through. Mm-hmm. And then having to jump through all of these hoops to get an abortion.
What this is about, Yasmin, is control and cruelty. That's what the Republican Party has turned into. They are a party that is about oppressing women, oppressing people with uteruses, about controlling bodies. This has nothing to do with life. This has nothing to do with livelihood. It has everything to do with brutalization and control. And so when you look at this, you're saying to myself, my God, we had a 10-year-old girl that had to flee her state in order to receive an abortion because she was a victim of rape. We're hearing stories about women that have a 50-50 chance of losing their uteruses because they have unviable fetuses that are inside of them and they can't receive the abortion care that they need in order to survive. This is brutality. We look at other countries and we say, oh my goodness, look how terrible they are to women. Look at America. Look at what these men who know nothing about women's bodies, who know nothing about the burden of childbirth and labor, making the decisions. Are they outside of doctors? It's outrageous, and it will come home to roost at the polls.
I got to say, I always dislike when a man says, we're pregnant. I'm like, you're not pregnant. Danielle Moody, thank you. Joe Walsh, thank you as well.